but let me unmute everybody real quick. All right. Step 2, unmute everybody, has been accomplished. But anyways, we are live, and as usual, that came with its technical issue, and that has been resolved. So we are now here for the Baldman Games super special announcement stream. It's so special that we have the Baldman, who's actually above me. So let me point at the right spot, because naturally I didn't put you in the same order as you are on my screen in front of me, because that would make too much sense. But anyways, I am your host for the night, Jenny Loveday, for those of you who do not know me. Social media coordinator, and most importantly, I am the cat herder tonight, and I will be attempting to keep these bald men, and slightly less bald men, on topic, so that we can answer as many of your questions as possible. So as I mentioned, above me, we've got Dave, the bald man himself. We've got Ted Atkinson over here, one of our event coordinators, and Spencer, who lives on our Discord channel. Or servers. Like, he actually lives in the server. He doesn't have a house.
100% in the machine.
Yeah, in the machine. Yeah.
Goes to the machine.
Spencer is simply a figment of your imagination that you have willed into existence. But anyway, we have a jam-packed agenda, and we're super excited. We're going to talk to you a little bit about our upcoming storylines. We're going to talk to you about the future of virtual weekends. We're going to talk to you about some brand new Baldman Games shows that we've got to announce. We're going to talk to you about some updates that we've got going on, about other miscellaneous stuff, DM recruitment, community initiatives, etc. And then, of course, we're going to do the section that everyone is super hyped about, so hyped that we almost have a hype train already. That's bananas, and I love you all. I just want to let you all know that. So, like, if you make a hype train go, Dave, will you go Choo-Choo if they make a hype train go?
Sure.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here. This is how you get Dave to Choo-Choo.
All right. And then, of course, we'll share with you, for folks who may not know, some information at the end about how to get more involved with us if that's the thing you want to do. All right. So then, let us kick it off. I'm going to hand it to Dave, who can tell you some about our upcoming storylines, because we got a lot going on there.
Oh, we have a lot going on. We have so much going on, with our redacted, that there's more than we have for this show, right? We're going to have some more stuff at future shows. But right now, per, the exciting announcements from, Wizards and the AL admins last week, we will be picking up and running with the Dreams of the Red Wizards storyline. We have a lot of experience with campaigns between Rising Shadows. We've run Dark Sun campaigns. We've run Moonsea campaigns, right? We've done a lot of stuff in the past, and we're really excited to, pick up this Dreams of the Red Wizards content and run with it. Building on the great stuff that, Greg Marks and the rest of the AL admin team and Ted, Alan, and Claire have all done in the past. So we're going to have a new storyline that releases later this year. It will be this year. It'll be releasing at a show this fall that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. So you'll get to see that when we get to that point. It will be set after, Light as Araxis. And we have a really awesome team. I can't wait to introduce you to the team that we have working on it. We've got a lot of exciting and a very diverse team that we're going to be bringing on board. Most of them are on board now. We're just waiting on the last few, and we're going to do a big announcement stream to introduce you to all the people that we're going to have, running the new campaigns that we have coming down the road. So with that, with Dreams of the Red Wizards, we'll have more on where that is and how we're going to do that in a little bit later in the show. But we are going to say that we will be kicking off the new storyline for Dreams of the Red Wizards with an epic. So we're going to start things off with a bang. And it'll be exciting. Something that we're planning on doing with this is we're going to have our entire schedule for the entire season of DRW up on the website. This is going to tell you not only when the content's going to premiere and where it's going to premiere at, it's also going to tell you when it is going to be available in the DMs Guild for everybody else. And we want to do this because we know there's a lot of shows around the world that love running the content, but in order for them to put schedules together for their future events, they need to know when things are coming out, right? So we're gonna be very transparent on what's coming out when, the tiers, adventure names, blurbs. Blurbs we may sit on for a bit as we don't want to spoil things, a little bit early. But this is the storyline that was announced earlier this year by the admins. So while we have a lot of exciting things in store for the future, for the immediate future, we're going to be picking up that storyline that they announced. And then, our two admins that are working on it will give it their own personal flair. They'll bedazzle it, maybe sprinkle some glitter on it, and, and make it their own. So that's what we're doing with Dreams of the Red Wizards. The Moonshae Isles will be getting a huge relaunch at Winter Fantasy in 2023. We've brought a new team on. We're taking Moonshae is going to be, along with Dreams of the Red Wizards, are going to be the cornerstone of our in-person play. While Dreams of the Red Wizards will also run online at our virtual D&D weekends. The Moonshae Isles will be focused primarily about in-person play, in-person shows. We're looking to have somewhere probably between 15 to 21 adventures next year. So we're going to kick it off with a bang, and we're going to be putting out a lot of content, which I know a lot of people are excited about, right? Our last, I don't think we will reach the epic levels of our last Moonshae campaign, which I think had 59 adventures in it.
It's a little much. It was a
little bit much, right? So we're gonna set the bar a little bit lower than that, this time around. But while they'll premiere at shows, there'll still be a pretty steady release schedule throughout the year. For people looking to run these at their local show, local shows. And we have a really cool, super. I'm really thrilled with the team that we have put together for the Moonshae Isles, and I can't, wait to introduce you guys to them in the near future. So we have some campaigns that we can't quite talk about yet. We had a lot of things in the work for projects that we were planning on doing, and that was before Dreams of the Red Wizards kind of fell in our laps. So we're doing a little reorganization, but we will be launching an online campaign that will be launching in December. So we can't go into the details quite yet, but this will be a campaign that's specifically running at virtual D&D weekends. So once again, it will be up in the DMs Guild. You can order it and play it at home, at a later date. But while Moonshae Isles is going to help anchor our in-person events, this other campaign is going to anchor our online events and hopefully take them, to the next level. But we'll have more info on that soon. Hopefully here in the next week, we could do another show about some of these other campaigns that we have in the works, as well as, introducing everybody to our campaign coordinators. Soon.
Yeah, we are very much looking forward to that. We'll do that soon.
All right, soon. So we did get the hype train.
Soon, this is what we put the trademark after soon.
Yeah, soon. TM.
We got that hype train, Dave, and it came with like a drunk pug looking emote, but you promised some quality choo-choo sounds. So
all right, choo-choo. There we go. I don't know what the train is, but I'm a man of my word.
It means we got a lot of excited people. They are subscribing to the channel, helping support us, and they are talking in chat, and they're gifting subs to people.
Yeah, make sure you clip that because we'll want to see that later.
Thanks.
And Azure Cobalt, we will tackle that question towards the end. We have a question section. So
yep, we got a question section at the end, and we will get that in there.
Now.
Put it in the thing. Spencer is adding it to the thing. All right.
I got it.
That does take us onward to our next section. So we want to talk a little bit about the future of virtual weekends, and who better to talk about that than kind of our virtual faces of the weekends. So Ted and Spencer. Spencer, what about those dates? When are they?
All right. So the big thing we got changed, which you probably all know about by now is September. We're sorry about the short notice. We'll talk a little more about that, but that was a thing that had to happen. As a result, the virtual D&D weekend for September is now going to be September 23rd to the 25th. But in doing so, we've adjusted everything back. So the red carpet deadline, if you're looking to sign up, is now September 9th at midnight. That will be accepting applications till then. And there is a new red carpet application process that will be launching right after the stream. It adds a little more transparency for you, so you can see what you're paying for and where the money goes. It makes it more fair for the DMs so that they have a better compensation method, and also it makes it easier for us to manage on the back end, so we can be a little more timely in processing things when things get a little crazy here. So that's exciting there. We also are very happy to...
Hold on, Spencer. We got a lot of viewers joining us who might not know what the red carpet is. You want to explain that real quick?
I definitely should. See, this is why we need you, Ginny. So the red carpets are a way for you to set up your own custom experience at a virtual D&D weekend. You grab a bunch of players, your friends. You need to have enough for a full table. We're not looking for like one person, looking for a group. If you already have a group and you want to play a bunch of adventures, you can book a DM to do those adventures just for you. Just you and your friends all weekend. You can book 2 adventures, 3 adventures, 4 adventures. If you have a specific DM you love playing with, you can request them. If you don't have a specific DM, you can let us pick for you. We'll choose from our top of the line expert DMs, and we'll find one that's suited to your content and your play style.
Top shelf only. I'll get the step ladder out to choose one for you.
This is my top shelf, right? I'm a very tall person. So
that's what I said, Dave. I'm going to get the step ladder out to help choose one for them. So, yeah, top shelf.
It does cost a little more. It costs a little more, but gets you that premium experience. And it's also great if you want to run those hardcovers. You know, sometimes it's a little weird when you play through the hardcovers and you got different people every chapter. If you want to book hardcover chapters, we can run those for you. You want to run through a trilogy of the Moonshays, we can do that. Epics, we can do that. Doesn't even have to be Adventurers League.
Apparently, you could get Alan to a red carpet Caius weekend. He's volunteered in chat, everybody.
Absolutely. You want to be terrified and never sleep again. Absolutely. I suggest doing that. I love those adventures so much.
And I'm very excited to say that adding the new red carpet approach will also make it easier for you to see up front the red carpets. You don't have to go and hunt through the website for it. So
absolutely.
It'll be much easier to find and easier for folks to know where to sign up.
Yeah, it'll all launch shortly after the stream ends, as soon as I have a chance to turn everything on. All right, moving on from there, we are also super excited to announce we have a new early Saturday slot from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. starting this month. 4
a.m. to 9 a.m. Baldman time.
Baldman time, yes, Baldman time. That is Eastern Daylight Time currently. UTC -4.
Yeah, I was gonna say until daylight savings times end.
Yeah. It's gonna help. We're hoping it'll make it easier for all European and Asian players to find a time that works for you. We know the North American times kind of suck for you. We're mostly North America, but we do have some DMs who aren't. So we're hoping it'll work better for you and for them. This month, just a little trial, like 2 to 3 tables. We'll see how it goes. If y'all sign up and we get players for them, we'll do it again and we'll expand. So that's very exciting too. Tickets will go on sale at the usual time, 10 days before, so that'll be the 13th. We will have our announcement stream, which we'll talk about a little bit more before that as well. But September is going to be an exciting month with a lot of new cool things in it.
Oh,
but
there are so many things coming up.
There's so much more after September, though.
Yeah, after September, we got even more. Like, Ted, what do we have after September?
To be clear, we do have some changes that are happening in order to better align our event schedules with the available resources, the weekends, and the people that we have throughout the rest of the calendar year. So we're going to be doing October 28th to the 30th for our October virtual weekend. November is going to be the 18th to the 20th, and then December is the 16th through the 18th. All right, so that's the 28th to the 30th, 18th to the 20th, and then 16th to the 18th. We will be updating our calendar pretty much right away after this. Spencer is so swift, it may even be done, I was going to say, by the time I finish talking.
Yeah.
So that you can keep track of that in the normal spot by looking at our Google Calendar there.
And
which you can, of course, also find in the server.
Yes, Crazy Flower. That is VDDW Halloween Edition, or as we call it, Liar's Night Edition.
Spencer and I have some particularly excellent ideas that we look forward to sharing. And we'll talk about that more as we get a little bit closer. But yes, we have some great October ideas for you that we think you will particularly enjoy. I do feel comfortable saying, as I think anybody can guess at this point, that the virtual weekends will continue well into 2023. Who knows what the future holds, but that is certainly our expectation, although we don't have any dates that go out beyond December as of yet. And I think that takes us on to our other non-virtual weekend shows for Ginny and Dave to talk about a little bit, starting with our newest show that we're adding to our annual slate.
Yeah, starting with our newest show that we're going to be adding to our annual slate, and one where I think you'll find all four of us, unless, fates conspire again. And I'm talking about Philadelphia, of course, where none of us were born and raised, but you will find us. I was so close to show But you will indeed find us there at PAX Unplugged. So PAX Unplugged, it's the tabletop event of PAX. For those of you who are familiar with PAX on the West Coast or East or wherever else you might have been to a PAX. And that's going to be December 2nd to 4th. There will be no online component to PAX Unplugged, at least not from the Baldman Games side of things. If someone else wants to do something, then they did something, and it had nothing to do with us. But we will have some very exciting stuff happening at PAX Unplugged. There will be some exclusive new Adventures League content that you won't see anywhere else, including some new stuff for the Dreams of the Red Wizards. Including the new Dreams of the Red Wizards epic, which I guess is technically new stuff with Dreams of the Red Wizards series, which is what I was originally saying. Brain hard. But yeah, we've got other shows that are kind of expected but have not yet been announced. Dave, what's the next one after PAX?
The next one after PAX will be Winter Fantasy 2023. This year, hopefully with 80% less snow and 42% more food. After last year's event of all of us getting snowed in, that local pizza place where the owners lived upstairs, we made them a lot of money over those couple days.
Yes, we did.
So we did our best to not starve to death in the frozen tundra. But Winter Fantasy next year will be February 1st to the 5th in wonderful Fort Wayne, Indiana, where we've been since 2009. For those of you that are asking yourself, why in the world Fort Wayne, Indiana? We always say Fort Wayne is a lovely town that hates money. Everything there is ridiculously amounts of cheap. The food, the hotels, the drinks, right? And we've built up a great relationship with the convention center and the hotel, and the surrounding establishments, and we love coming back every year, right? This is the home of the Baldman. This is the show that everybody says Winter Fantasy is coming home, right? You're coming home to your people. You're coming home to your friends. If you want to come to a show with the most wonderful people and just play D&D for 4.5 days, this is the show you come to.
If you want to meet my mom, she came to it last year. It was her first con, and she's probably going to come to it again. I've already committed her now by saying it, so love you, Mom.
Like she has to, right? Random people will show up with cookies. Small children will be running around, snow plows, right? It is, it's everything you want in that cozy, warm show, right? We specifically keep the show small. We don't do a lot of advertising. This technically might be the most advertising I've done for it in years. We want this to be the warm, fuzzy, comfy show.
I made a save the date postcard last year, Dave. We advertised.
That's right. I remember that.
It was beautiful.
I apologize. Mea culpa, right?
Yeah.
Right. We make a ton of announcements at this show. We give out our awards to our DMs, like Lifetime Achievement Awards, DM of the Year, which is a blessing and a curse to be DM of the Year, as many of them will tell you, as nobody can razz you quite like your friends. And then, as we mentioned earlier, right, we're going to be relaunching, the Moonshade Isles at the show, right? And we're looking to have a big epic set in the Isles, as well as 5 or 6 new adventures to kick off the campaign, right? So I know
didn't.
someone like,
I love that I didn't have to say right, John Christian, for him to chime in with truth.
I was there. Yep.
yes. But it's a great show. But at the same time, we tend to keep it in a controlled size. A lot of the cool stuff sells out really fast. Normally we have all the admins there. We get some Wizards folks to come out, right? It's a really good, fun show.
And there's board games too. If you have friends who are into that.
The board game library.
So, I forgot that part of it, right? We actually bring in the entire Gen Con board game library. So if you've ever been to Gen Con and been to the board game room and been like, holy crap, that's a lot of board games, they're all going to be in Fort Wayne. We bring the entire library out to Fort Wayne. So not only can you play D&D until you fall over, once you fall over, you can prop yourself up in a chair and play board games. That's all, included in it.
All right. I guess, Dave, if that covers the Winter Fantasy stuff, I have a couple more things to throw in here.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, let's move it along from Winter Fantasy to those updates.
Sure. So we've got a variety of different things going on, trying to sort of help engage a little more with the community. You all have been really excellent for us. You've had a lot of questions, a lot of things that you're eager to do, and things that we've been talking about since sort of in the heart of the pandemic. A lot of them have gotten delayed, especially, trying to figure out how to get back to in-person shows, working out how to make online shows really expand, bringing in a lot of new people who aren't physically located with us. So we've been talking amongst ourselves about how we can continue to expand on our efforts to really broaden the scope of our outreach here. And although there's not a lot that we're quite ready to share, I did want to make sure that that we are working on figuring out how to cast a wider net when we're doing our DM recruitment for events. A lot of people have asked, how do I get to be one of the people who comes and does the virtual weekends or some of the other projects that we're involved with? How do I get to become a writer? And we've got some of our folks like Eric Mengi, who ran the previous Moonshade storyline, who have been collecting lists of people who are interested. And so if you want to be more involved in one way, shape, or form, whether that's on the DMing side, on the creative side, with the community itself, we are going to have a lot more to say about that, hopefully at Winter Fantasy or a little before then. It's going to include some updates that we've been talking about how to get your feedback right to the top, so that Dave is getting to hear from people who represent the interests and feelings of the community, so that you have avenues that you can bring concerns and new ideas. So I know that that's a potentially unsatisfactory answer, but we do want to make sure that that it's something we are continuing to work on actively. It's not something that we are entirely unaware of. So more to look forward to with Winter Fantasy.
All right. So we are getting to the Q&A portion of the evening. So for those of you who have not yet submitted your questions, you can go ahead and drop those in the chat. If you've come up with something else that we haven't answered yet, we're going to get to some of the ones that we do have here. And just gonna I got a bunch here, and I'm gonna read them off, and I've got some people who are gonna answer them, and then we'll see, where we go from there. So first up, question from David over on Facebook, wants to know, Ted, when are we gonna get the 411 when it comes to dragon marks and that whole program?
Yes.
David thinks it's a great idea to offer that incentive program, but.
So let me give the short overview for those who aren't familiar with the Dragon Mark idea. This is, as it says right in the comment there, a rewards program that we have for playing Baldman Games events. Every time you play a game of an hour or more, you're going to earn one Dragon Mark for that game. demo games, some other things might not include those. But anytime you sit down for a standard gameplay, whether it's a learn to play game, whether it's a 4-hour game, whether it's an epic or an open or whatever else, you're going to earn 1 dragon mark for that play. And dragon marks can be used in 2 ways. One is just by accruing them. Whenever you reach our threshold for the year, you are going to get sent a code or a link or something at the end of the year that will let you buy our limited edition merch. So this is going to be something that's got Baldman Games and the year stamped on it. I think we're looking at doing a T-shirt this year. We're pretty certain that that's what we're going to be offering. We'll have a firmer commitment on that soon. I do see Dave nodding, so I feel like that's pretty safe to say. But you'll be able to purchase that T-shirt from us at the end of the year, and then we'll ship them out right to you. That's going to be part of it. We'll have some details about pricing and stuff as we get a little bit closer, but this is only available to people who earn the threshold for dragon marks, or if you're a DM, if you have DM'd enough games for us or worked admin shifts or whatever during the course of the year. The other way you can use your dragon marks is by spending them in order to get access to particular games. Usually that's going to be something like an author-only game. Looking at you, Alan. Or maybe we'll have something that is a piece of content that you just really can't play anywhere else. And we're going to make this really a premium experience for those folks. So you'll spend your dragon marks, and when you do, you'll get early access to those before tickets go on sale to whoever at large, or it might be limited just to people with dragon marks. We're still working on the numbers because we only started doing this partway through the year. But to circle back to the original question, now that you know what they are, how we track them, and how you will be able to view how many you have and spend them, we're hoping to have some more information on by the time we actually get to the September weekend, including using our Discord bot and hopefully putting that up on the web somewhere. So that's the answer for that one.
No, I think that was a very good all-encompassing answer there, and very succinct explanation. I like it. So Callus the Stormlord over on Discord, Spencer, can we elaborate on the fate of epics? It sounds like Baldman Games will continue to run the existing ones, but Wizards and the AL won't create new ones. Is Baldman going to create new ones? I think I already gave the answer to that away, but
We sure did. Yeah, that already went up. We sure are. We will be one of the 2 groups creating epics going forward. And I can say the first one is already in progress. I can't say much more past that, but it's being created.
We do have some people with experience doing that, so
little bit. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this unnamed person might be coming up with right now.
I just want to let you all know it's not me this time. I'm not the unnamed person. Okay, you've all had
someone much eviler.
Enough Jenny epics for a while.
But yeah, we've been writing and running epics for 22 years, right? We got the peeps. We're gonna knock some socks off. We have some exciting stuff coming.
All right, so that was an easy one. So let's see. Let's shift back over. That Rick guy over on Discord wants to know, Ted, with the shift away from the official Adventures League content, are we planning on focusing on our own teams writing for the Dreams of Red Wizards and Moonshays, or are our events going to be more focused on rotating more Dungeon Craft content into the schedules?
All right, good question. So obviously, from our perspective, our focus is going to be on creating those big storylines. So, like we said, that's Dreams of the Red Wizards. We're picking up where the AL team has handed that off to us, and we're going to be continuing to work on trying to make sure that those come out regularly, that they're available to everybody. There'll be a period where we run them at our events, and then they'll get released onto DM's Guild. Ditto for the Moonshays, although that'll be in person. But in terms of what we actually run at events, we do like to include some other content. So even though we're not going to necessarily be asking writers to create things for us, we're more than happy when we can especially at the virtual weekends, to run some of the dungeon craft that's been created by a lot of our awesome community members. And you'll see that on our schedule now. So we will be continuing that with the next set.
And there's some really amazing dungeon craft out there, so, who knows when your stuff may pop up at an unexpected place. All right, we're gonna pass one to Dave this time. Kamari over on Discord says, as I understand it, the New Moon series are being published at a slower pace than the admittedly very prolific previous series. Is that about the pace that we can expect for the new DRWs, or perhaps maybe are we spreading that workload out so that it can be released at a more regular rate? And would you happen to know what that rate's going to be?
That's a good question. That's a multi-part question. So we give you credit for getting a lot of commas and brackets and question marks in that question. So to answer the first part of the question, right? Are we going back to the Moonshay schedule of old? No, not quite, which will make some of my team happy, as I think some of them might still be in therapy over that.
It's traumatic.
It was very traumatic at times. But we've smoothed some things out too. There's some roadblocks that existed then that don't exist today. So it is going to be much, much faster than what we saw the interim, right? We kind of had our interlude, right? We have, the Rising Shadows, we had our interlude, and now we're kicking it off again, right? So you should be seeing, I would say at least 5 trilogies in 2023, right? Which is 15 adventures, which is more than one a month for people to play. We're probably not going to release them in trilogies like we did in the past, where we just go boom and here's 3 new adventures. We'll probably release them, one here, one there, hopefully every month, every 3 weeks, depending on kind of how the flow goes. Now for the pace for the DRWs, right? We have our season of the DRWs, right? It's going to kick off, as we know, at PAX Unplugged this fall. That is my goal is to have at least an adventure come out every single month from now until the end of the campaign. So that if you're running a monthly event, you're running a local event, or if you're running a convention, you can look at the schedule and say, cool, these are the events that I'm going to run. They premiere in January. They hit the DMs Guild in February. I'm running an event, and I can order them. How many exactly are going to be in the system? I don't want to commit my team to it, but I'm guessing probably somewhere like in the 10 to 12, 10 to 14 range, including the epics, probably pretty similar. What was the last one? I think it was 11 with some epics in there. From 9 to 20 is what I think the numbering went from. For the
9 to 20 plus 2 epics.
Plus a couple epics. So it's going to be something very, very similar to that release schedule. So between that and the Moonshays, that right there is at least a couple, some months, 3 things coming out every single month for everybody to play. And I've seen some people, so I'm going to go ahead and address it now, right? The DRW stuff will go through the tier that is appropriate for the story that they are telling. If the story seems to be a story that wraps up at level 15, 16, then that's where we're going to stop. If it's a story that, much like the last one, that needs to go into tier 4, then the story will 100% go into tier 4. But I'm not going to box the authors in by saying, Dave promised tier 4. We have to make this last adventure tier 4, right? We want to come up with an awesome story, and then where it fits is where it fits, than trying to take an awesome story and make it something that it's not. Now, do I fully expect that most of them probably will go into tier 4? Yes, because that's kind of that's the theme, right? That's the storyline that we're following. And so, yeah, I think I answered all the pieces of that question.
Yeah. So one follow up there was Wallerstein there was asking what was happening with the PO moon, which is the new moon you were just talking about, and including the 1 to 4 that came out but not published this past year. So there was just 2.
No, I think he's talking about DRW intros, which just came out, and they are going to be published.
Yes.
That's WotC. They announced that recently.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we're talking DRW 1 to 4, that is in the AL admins and the Wizards courts as to when they'll be publishing those up. kind of like as evergreen intros, because we will be starting all DRW campaigns. We'll start at tier 2 as they have in the past. If you're talking about Poo Moon, so I really
we're not calling it that. We're not calling it that.
P.O. Moon. There's also 4 adventures in that.
It'll have a real name at Winter Fantasy. I guarantee
it will have a real name.
I'm going to keep calling it Poo Moon until we get a real name. So that's my incentive for someone to come up with a name for it.
Vetoed Spencer. Also, I was correct in what they were talking about.
Okay.
They were still on Moonchase. And yes, the ones that have already come out but not yet been published, they went back for some editorial work. They are not lunar droppings. Spencer, why would you do this to me?
This is my incentive for Dave to get someone to come up with an actual name for this.
Winter Fantasy. Winter Fantasy.
Well, soon, Spencer, I will be announcing somebody that you can go bug instead of me.
Oh, excellent. If it is who I think it is.
But anyways, yes, those will also be releasing. They had to go back for some cleanup work. But they will be available. All right, on to the next one, which is a bit of a joke question. But so I'm going to hand it to Spencer since he's all jokes right now. JT over on the Discord server has a very important question about the new Dreams of the Red Wizard series. Is it going to, for once, involve the Thanes being the good guys while they abolish time zones and daylight savings times? And thus, we would be supporting them this time, right?
So I'm not on the story team for this campaign, but I can say with absolute surety that whoever is picked is going to be hounded by me personally until that becomes canon. That's all I have to say about that. It's going to happen.
We're going to launch daylight savings time out of a cannon. You heard it from Spencer.
If we could do that, I would be Team Thayan 100%.
100%.
I never cared about COVID. Made me care about time zones.
Right.
Like before we had to go virtual, I didn't need to know that we were GMT -4 or -5 and daylight savings and non-day, and I suddenly had to care, and I'm still angry about that. I don't want to know that. I don't need it.
Yes, I also love Redbeard the Pirate King, that you are late to my clean up the poo joke, so thank you for catching that and chiming in. I appreciate that somebody got it there. Love it. All right. So a little bit of a multi-part question here from Feral Thallid over on Discord. So Ted and Dave, I'm going to pitch this to the both of you. So with the apparent elimination of the non-hardcover AL content coming from Wizards, do you expect that there'll be regular enough of a flow from other non-Dungeon Craft sources to maintain regular AL sessions with new material at the local level? And the corollary to that, the timing of this announcement gives the impression that this is because Wizards is focusing most of its effort on 1D&D. After the release of the new edition, will the trusted partners still be running AL, or is this 1D&D equivalent, or is this a temporary move until 1D&D is hashed out? Oh, I don't know if we can answer all of that.
I'm gonna let Dave answer the first part, but I'm gonna take the second part first and say that we can't speculate as to what Wizards' plans are overall. There are things that we know and things that we don't know, and this is the eternal state of it, right? What their plans are long term, we can't speak to. As much as people would like to believe it, Baldman Games does not run AL. All we're doing is writing some content and trying to run as many cool adventures as we can. Will we have more cool things to talk about very soon? Absolutely, 100%. What those are, we get soon with the trademark after it, right? But very soon we will have more things to say. That said, our understanding is that we are going to continue to focus on the things that are in our court, right? That Dave has already talked about. And Dave, you can speak to whether I think you've already addressed some of the flow questions, but if you have anything else you want to say.
We've addressed, and when he posted this in Discord, I promised him that we would be answering one of these 2 questions, right? And with you doing that, it's very obvious which of these 2 questions we can actually answer, right? Which is the first question. With the hardcover content and what we're producing, right? With us coming out with 2 to 3 adventures a month every month, I think for the vast majority of the community, that's more than enough content for what they're looking for. Now, if you're a group that says we play 2 to 3 things every other weekend, All right, you may burn through stuff a little faster.
Oh, no, if they play 2 to 3 things every weekend, then I have one word for you. Dungeon Craft.
Dungeon Craft.
There's plenty
Craft. I can introduce you to hundreds of lovely Dungeon Craft authors.
I think there's still a backlog of like 400 CCCs, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
You can have some bespoke content created for you. Just find starving artists out there and pay them for their work.
True.
But yeah, if you're just like, hey, I want to play a Dreams of the Red Wizard adventure once a month, awesome, we got you. If you're like, I also want to play the Moonshade stuff once a month, awesome, we got you. You know, all the DRW stuff is online, so even if you miss a month, you can show up the next month and play 2, right? And we count back up, you know, to what you're doing. And so I think for the main community, we will have plenty of content out there for them.
Yeah, and you know, I will grant you that. Points for trying. I know you had to. Worth it. All right. So I think we got one. Let's see, from Igor Faria over on Twitter, who also posted it in chat as well. So don't worry, I definitely saw it. It's all here. Can you share if there will be new Eberron Ravenloft campaigns with the new rule set promised for late September, or should we expect only the adventures from the Dungeon Craft program, i.e., will we have new adventures in these worlds, or will we only be seeing new adventures in the Forgotten Realms?
I have very strong feelings about this. I've already made multiple proposals about this that I've been told might be possible, but I can't answer that question, so I'm going to throw it to Dave.
We're going to pitch it to Dave. This is a Dave question.
This is a Dave question, right? I will say that currently, right now, I have no immediate plans for starting an Eberron or a Ravenloft campaign. Just with the things that we're biting off, I've always been a, you know, finish chewing what you have before you ask for seconds kind of guy, right? I don't want to try to do so many things at once that I end up doing 5 things kind of crappy or poo-like, to go with our theme, right? And then doing 2 or 3 things awesome, right? Now, never say never, right? But at the same time, you know, with the program that Wizards says they are rolling out, I haven't seen it any more than any of you have, and even if I did, I couldn't talk about it. There's no reason anybody can't come up with a new Eberron or Ravenloft campaign. You know, if you have a strong community and say, cool, we'd love to do a 10-part Eberron Dungeon Craft campaign, there's not one thing stopping you from doing that than just knuckling down and doing it, right? So if you think that content has an audience,
our friends over in the Philippines, the Greasy Snitches, have been creating their own Dungeon Craft campaigns, as have the Nordic AL folks. So props to both those Dungeon Craft groups for following through on a whole storyline. Like, yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
I'm going to skip one, and then I'm going to come back, because this one kind of goes in there. So Dougal's TC, or Dougal STC. Are there plans to support more Tier 3 or Tier 4 content? This is one we get all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've addressed it from the, you know, the Red Wizard side of things, right? Most of those will go to 4. Can I promise every storyline will go to 4? No. But at the same time, I think most of them will end up there because that's just kind of the story we're telling. For Moonshade, it's really going to be in the coordinators and what story they're trying to tell. But most of the time, the Moonshade's really kind of Tier 3 is their thing, right? It's not, right? That's not the Moonshade feel. It's not the Moonshade, you know, scope, right? They're not a Tier 4, crack the planet open like an egg and shake things around, right? That's not that.
I prefer the Moonshades at Tier 2, personally. I think it's just the right amount of, like, danger and shenanigans.
Yep.
Mostly shenanigans.
There's definitely lots of shenanigans, right? But, you know, that's part of, you know, we've announced some of the things we're doing. Like we said, we still have more to come, right? They all need to be their own thing, right? They're all scratching a different itch, right? We just don't need 4 clone copies of Red Wizards running in different places, right? Though there are some people that be like, please give me that. I would just love that, right? We want different content. We want different content that stretches you in different directions, that satisfies different audiences.
All right. I'm going to pop back to Azure Cobalt's question on Twitch. Says, I'm curious about the handoff of Dreams Red Wizards to Baldman. Is someone consulting on that story continuity? D&D Adventurously kind of had its own story universe, and I'd like to see that continue, plot threads, NPCs, etc. Can I answer this one? I know this one.
Yeah, you go.
All right, so for the current storyline, the next one coming up, like a lot of that was already in place, so absolutely we are continuing that story continuity. And Dreams of the Red Wizards, as it is, has a very strong story theme, as you know. I mean, so we have all intentions, and we have a great team on board to continue, you know, keeping things in that look and that feel and that danger. And, you know, we're not abolishing time zones. We're going to keep it to the correct level of seriousness for the Red Wizards. But, again, shenanigans. I mean, because it's Red Wizards. So, you know. Do you have anything to add on that, Dave?
Well, as to the handoff, we've all sat in the movie theater and saw the M&M commercial where I think the yellow M&M gets handed an envelope and says, "Here's your mission."
This is an envelope.
This is an envelope, right? That is actually how the handoff happened, right? It was done via M&Ms. It was done on a park bench, but we were sitting 6 feet apart on the park bench, right? Because we are still responsible. But no, I mean, everything we're working on is still going to be going through the AL admin that's in charge of this, Greg Marks. Once again, Greg and I have known each other for 20 plus years at this point. Right. So every time we're coming up with stories, new stories and additions, right, he'll be part of that process to make sure, does it seem DRW enough, right? Does it have our feel? But with the people we have working on it, I'm not worried in any fashion.
And just so everyone knows, like, the real story architect on Dreams of the Red Wizards has always been Greg's cat, Lita, and we will continue to defer to Lita's decisions.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows Greg will understand that, you know, the cats run Greg. For everyone else, just humor me, please. Let's see. Looks like we've got one more here. From Alsa75 on the Spencer, stop putting your thing in the way. I can't read.
Sorry.
On the new Dreams of the Red Wizards adventure, will organizers be able to request content for their events between that premiere and the DM's Guild release?
This is another one that I'm going to say never say never. Right now, I currently have nothing in place or plans for that. You know, in order to do that, we need to get a very solid foundation of our release schedule. We need to get a very solid foundation of what kind of shows or what quality of shows or what tier of shows can premiere things, which then requires a rule set, monitoring, an application process, right? There's a lot that goes into, hey, can we run something, right? So never say never, but you know, there would need to be some work involved in that to make sure that the process of like who does and who doesn't is transparent and fair and right. So something for down the road.
All right, we got a late minute one here. Did we talk about Spelljammer? And Spencer did answer that. Unfortunately, we don't really have any Spelljammer news today, aside from we're gonna keep running the Spelljammer content that we've been running. Yep. So if you haven't had a chance to get to the Academy or star in on the Light of Xerxes, you can do that.
Tune on the 11th at 8 p.m.
Tune into our next announcement stream, and we have a little bit more news.
Yeah. In the meantime, we are looking forward to the next set of Dungeon Craft guidelines, just like everybody else.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna have, or at least around these parts, right? These parts being my peeps, right? We got a busy 4 months coming up, right? Not only do we have our normal monthly shows, we got PAX Unplugged, we got Winter Fantasy, and we have a whole lot of campaigns launching, right? So it's a busy time, but it's an exciting time.
All right. So
and
for
as I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of community stuff that we have been working on, ways that we are trying to build a bigger, more diverse, more inclusive community of people, bring in new ideas and new folks that we haven't got to hear from, because I mean that's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do, right? We want to run the best D&D that we can for everybody that we can accommodate, and that doesn't mean that we're going to do everything all the time. As Dave said, that's unsustainable, and you just can't make that work without half-assing the job. But for what we can do, we're going to try to make sure that everybody has an excellent time, and that we're making sure that we get out to all the people in the community.
All right. Conrad showing up in chat for the first time with some archaic terms there. Come judge. Run games. DM, GM, whatever you want to call it. We do. We always are needing people. Will Baldman have a presence at Gamehole Con? I mean, a lot of us will be there, but that's their premier organizer.
That's the other PO.
That's we don't step on their toes. They don't step on our toes. We're friends.
If you see me there, I'm a civilian. That's my presence at Gamehole Con, right? It's a show where I'm responsible for nothing but myself. But even then, the last time I went there, I had to fill in for Chris Perkins running a special table because he got double booked, right? So there's only so much escaping that you can do, right? And apologizing as I sit down and go, yes, I am a bald person, but I am not Chris Perkins' bald person.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And if you see the rest of us there, feel free to say hello. But so many people be like, I saw you, but you look busy. We do that. You can say hello anyways. It's fine. If you don't say hello when we look busy, you might not ever say hello, ever. And it is the entirety of, all time. Yes, hide, Dave, if you don't want to be spoken to.
Yes, because anybody that has met me has I'm a very easy person to hide. This is not...
Dave's gonna hide behind my coattails.
But like you're saying, I have relationships that have probably gone for 15 years at Gen Con that have mostly consisted of walking through aisleways at the exhibit hall and going, hey, Dave, hey, Bob. And that's been the relationship for 15 years of Gen Con, right? But you say hi.
Yeah. All right. Well, wrapping it up, I just want to, back to a couple of reminders. Our September virtual D&D announcement stream is going to be on September 11th. As Spencer already mentioned, that will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Tickets will be on sale for that event now on September 13th, which does mean the event is September 23rd through 25th. The October one is going to be Halloween weekend. Once we get beyond that, you can look at the calendar because I can't remember everything off the top of my head. We are going to be at PAX Unplugged. That is the first weekend in December. We are going to be at Winter Fantasy. That is the first weekend in February. We are doing a lot of things and a lot of stuff, and we're going to have a lot more announcements. So, stay tuned for that. And it's about that time, HFs, righto. Why do you all do this to me? They put text in the teleprompter while I'm reading it. But anyways, as a reminder, for those of you who have not fully joined into the Baldman Games community, you can always find more information on events on our website, baldmangames.com. If you're looking for one of those handy-dandy calendars, baldman.link/calendar. That's Google Calendar, so you can add it to your phone, take it with you everywhere, never forget what date we're doing things on. You can subscribe to this here Twitch channel that you're already on. Give us your money if you want. Give us your Amazon Prime subscription if you want to give us money without spending yours. Or just follow us if you're on a budget. That's fine too. We love followers just as much. You can follow us over on YouTube, baldman.link/YouTube. Hit us up on the regular old social media channels. Twitter, @Baldman Games. Over on Facebook, Baldman Games. We have a page and a group there. I try to post things to both of those. But if you've got a preference for one over the other, I don't know, whatever your jam is, do that. And of course, please join our Discord server. That is discord.gg/BaldmanGames. That's going to be the best place to interact with us and the #1 place to irritate the bejesus out of Spencer. Because he loves it.
I do. I really do.
It's discord.gg/BMG.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
I said BMG.
Baldman Games.
No, I said... Did I? I don't know what I said, so I'm sorry. It's BMG.
I feel it.
But thank you all so much for watching. Are the premieres of PAX Unplugged like the Epic going to be offered anywhere else again? I mean,
we'll probably run that Epic yet.
Everything is going to show up eventually on DM's Guild. Yes. It's just a matter of how long.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have no intention of of gatekeeping content, right? I'm not making something super cool and then going, nobody can have it, right? That's not any intention.
Also, we are not going to put that much work into something to only do it once ever.
I'm going to try and pry the Epic from Dave's hands for the December VDDW. So
yeah, and as for conventions in other countries,
well, Spencer, I know a guy you can talk to. Right?
I do. I mean, if you don't give it to me, I'm just gonna get it from him. So
yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of conventions in Canada with Baldman people out there, and then if you want to fly us all to New Zealand, Matthew, we can run a small con if you want to.
More than happy.
Yeah, we will come visit you and the Hobbitses, and we will have a lovely gaming weekend in the Shire.
We will have lunch, second lunch, and third breakfast, and we'll all be happy.
Afternoon tea, don't forget. 11Z's, supper,
dinner, supper.
All of the meals. But yes, anyways. All right. That is going to be it for this special edition of the Baldman Games announcement show. Tune in 12 days. Yeah, 12 days, because I know how to do math. On the 11th, 13 days, isn't it, actually? It's 13 days.
Close enough.
Yeah, whatever. We don't do 13s because they're unlucky. We were talking about that beforehand, except we don't care about that. But anyways, I digress. Farewell. Let me see if I can sign off.
Bye, everybody.